welcome to Allie in Sweatpants. My name is Allie and I am wearing sweatpants. It's been a minute. I don't know where the time goes. I always feel like I just filmed an episode and then I check and it's been like a month or more. So hope everyone had a nice March. Welcome into April if you're watching this, you know, relatively when it gets uploaded. So yeah, let's just get into it. I wanted to start by talking about the knit along that Martina and I are hosting till the end of the year. It's called Adventures in Stash. You can use that hashtag on Instagram. I'm following it, and that's where we're going to pick winners from at the end of the year. And I just wanted to clear a couple things up about that knit along. I have been seeing some things about stash alongs and how I just want to be very clear. It's not a no buy along. It's not to shame anyone for how much or how little they have in their stash. It's not to shame anyone for buying a lot of yarn or buying no yarn. It's not here to shame. It just came from a place of I have such a beautiful stash and it all brings me joy and I just haven't been making time for it. So this was my way of creating time for the beautiful yarns I already have. But I bought yarn. You'll see new yarn in this video. So it's to celebrate the beautiful supplies that we have already treated ourselves to. It's not to shame anyone into not buying more yarn. So I really just wanted to clear that up. And yeah, I'm really enjoying seeing the projects that are coming up on that hashtag. So please keep them coming if you would like to join. So yes, I think that was all the admin, other than if you haven't been here before, this is my Ayasta sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. The elastic in the neck actually broke the other week and I've yet to put another strand through, but it's my uniform at this point. I think my neighbors probably see me walking Simon in this sweater day after day after day, week after week after week, and they're like, what's up with that girl in that sweater? But anyway, let's get into the projects. So I have a couple finished objects. I have three, two of which I don't have with me. So I'll start with the one that I have, and it's a pair of socks. And I remembered to put it on the sock blockers that my boyfriend made me. So here it is. It's just basically a vanilla sock. And I did 4x1? 3x1? No, I think I did 4x1. I think I did 4x1 ribbing, a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset. And for my socks, I always do 2.5mm needles and 56 stitches. And the yarn that I used is new to me. It's Stroll Tweed by Knit Picks in the Dalmatian colorway. They're 50-gram balls, and I managed to get a pair of socks for myself out of one ball with this remaining. So, you know, do with that what you will. But I used the Dalmatian colorway. I am just a sucker for tweed. As you will see, ask me if I'm in my tweed era, because the answer is yes. I am in my tweed era. So this is my, there it is. This is my first finished object and I'm very excited about it. I got this in a green color and like a wine color. And it's really nice. I really, really liked working with this yarn. So I'm glad that I have some more to work with. And I got it during one of Knit Picks' like really good sales. So it was even more affordable, which was lovely. And then my second finished object, I am so bummed. I cannot find it. I think it's tangled in the dryer somewhere. I looked and I looked and I looked and I can't find it, so I can only assume it's balled up in something. But I knit myself a bandana. I knit the, I'm pretty sure it's called the Romanticist bandana? The Romanticist's bandana. And this pattern was actually sent to me very generously by Martina from We Grow Wild. Thank you, Martina. And it is just the cutest, dreamiest little bandana. I've never had a bandana before, but I have kind of been gardening and weeding in the backyard, and I just picture myself in my little short overalls with my little bandana out gardening, and it was just a whole vibe. So I was like, I think I want to make myself a bandana. And I don't know if it counts as lace. To me, it's lace because there's yarn overs and things like that. So if it is lace, this was my first lace project. And I had a great time. I knit it in one day. I just sat down and I cast it on, and I had a really good time doing it. I used some stash yarn that I had from Wool and the Gang. It was their Shiny Happy Cotton in green, probably like a eucalyptus green. I had one ball of it because I bought a kit, and that kit came with one ball of the green. And I think I used about half the ball, so I might be able to get another bandana out of that ball of yarn. But I am visiting my cousin the very beginning of May, and she thought it was so cute, so I do really want to make her one for when I go and visit her. So yeah, that was a really fun project. I highly recommend that pattern. I thought it was beautiful. And because I used thicker yarn than recommended in the pattern, I actually did one less pattern repeat than it calls for in the pattern. But I'm happy with the size. I sent Martina a picture of me having it on, so I'm sure it's been on the screen. But yeah, it was a very nice knit. So thank you again, Martina, for the pattern. And then did I show you guys my boyfriend's finished bubble sweater? Did I? Well, if I have, I'm sorry, I'm about to show you again. So I finished my boyfriend's bubble sweater, which is actually called, there we go, the Kupla sweater. And I followed it from the 52 Weeks of Easy Knits book. And I finished it. It is so heavy. The balls that I used were 100 grams, and I used 12. So it's like, she's like a coat, but he loves it. He has not stopped wearing it. Here it is. You can really see that bottom part was an older dye lot, and then the top part was the newer dye lot, which for me is funny because whenever I see him wearing it and I don't see that green stripe along the bottom, I'm like, you have your sweater on backwards? And he's like, how can you tell? And I'm like, the green line, which he can't even see. But it is just so, oh my gosh, the texture. I need to knit myself one. So it is knit bottom up in pieces. So you seam it at the end, which I found stressful. Stressful is the word that comes to mind. And I think that's just because I'm not experienced at doing it, and I was kind of having trouble lining up the pieces really well. So I felt like there were parts where one side of it was kind of getting bunched and the other side I was kind of having to stretch. But it went well all in all, except for my boyfriend put it on and we were sitting and then he was like, what happened? And he held up his arm and he's like, I felt cold air. I didn't know what was going on. And the seaming had just burst like right in the middle of the arm. So I don't know what happened there, but I fixed it and I really love it. I knit the smallest size out of Stash yarn, which is Lion Brand Pima Cotton in the peppercorn colorway. And then this is just like the cream or white of the same yarn. And what was I just gonna say? I made the smallest size, said the yarn. Oh, the only modification I made was the neckline, which I'm still not happy with. It is so wide. It sits on my boyfriend like even wider than this, and this is like too wide for my liking already. And so I knit it the first time and it was like damn near on his shoulders. I mean, it was too wide. And so I went back and I knit two together all the way around, I'm pretty sure. And it's still too wide for my liking. So he doesn't mind, but I mind. I feel like it makes it look very handmade, which is not something to avoid. I don't avoid making things look handmade. What I do avoid is just when they look rushed, or yeah, like when it's not perfect, I feel like it can look rushed, and that's not what I want. I want it to look like I really thought everything through. So I don't know if I'm gonna try to maybe thread some elastic. It's not a double folded neckband, it's just you knit the ribbing and then you bind off. But I think because the elastic is so thin and clear, I might be able to get away with it anyway. But yeah, he loves it. And sorry if you can hear background noise. It's such a nice day today, so I have my windows open. So I hope it's not too bad, but I can hear a squeaky truck outside. So he loves it. He calls it his Gucky sweater. And it originated from a joke he made where he was like, I never thought I'd be able to afford a Gucci sweater. And I was like, it's better than a Gucci sweater. And then he was like, it's my Gucci. And I was like, it's your Gucky. And so now it's his Gucky sweater. So yes. And if I went through all of that before, I'm sorry. Saying it now, I don't think I did, but just in case, sorry for the repeat. But yes, this is another finished object. It took me a while, but the payoff is amazing. It's such a beautiful, beautiful pattern, beautiful sweater. The only issue I have is the neckline. So my last finished object I don't have here with me, and it technically was a mending repair project. It was the Cumulus Tea that I made for my mom a year ago, 2 years ago. Right here. Come on. Good boy. Yeah, you just chill out. Everyone said that you were very cute in the last episode, which was a relief for mommy. It was the Cumulus Tea. There you go, if you wanted to see him. It was the Cumulus Tea that I made for my mom, and the neckline, the V was just too deep for her liking, so I ripped out the I-cord and I did just stockinette so it rolled over. So it has kind of a similar effect to me as an I-cord, but it's easier and quicker. And I picked up, I think initially I picked up every stitch, and then I tried to pick up every other stitch and I couldn't even get it over my head. So I did like 2 out of 3 stitches, and that seemed perfect. And then for the bottom, I also ripped out the I-cord because it was way too tight. I had redone it 3 or 4 times and it was still way too tight. So I did the same rolled stockinette thing on the bottom. And I think she's a lot happier with it now, which makes me feel good. So on to works in progress. We'll start with this one because it's quick. I am making myself another ripple bralette. in this nice baby pink colorway. I'm making the 3rd size. It's a pattern by Jessie Made Designs, by the way. I've made a ton. I've made a ton specifically in this yarn, which is Cascade Fixations. And it's so good. It's like 98.7% elastic, 1.3%, oh no, sorry. Imagine. It's like 98.7% cotton and 1.3% elastic. It's like very specific on the label. But yes, that is what I'm making. I'm just plugging away on that. I'm like really stressed about my battery. It says I only have 38 minutes left on my card. And then I started with another new yarn. It's the Knit Picks Felici sock yarn in the concession stand colorway. I started a pair of heel toe do-si-do socks, which just looks so cool in self-striping yarn. And the pattern is in 56 stitches or 64 stitches, and I wanted to do 60 stitches. So I went down a needle size. Instead of 2.5, I'm using 2.25, and I went for 64 stitches. So this yarn is also lovely. I got this in 2 other colors as well, I think. And yeah, Knit Picks is killing it with their sock yarns. I really, really am enjoying this. And then another project that I started is from my book again, and it's the Give Me the Tea by Jenny Anash. Let's see here. The first pattern in the book, and I'm making the either the 3rd or 4th size, but my gauge is so off that I finished the raglan increases as called for in the pattern, and I had to do like, what was it? I think I had to do like 8 more raglan repeats, and I'm still worried that it's a bit too tight in my armpits, but we'll see. So I'm using a discontinued yarn from Terrapin Fiberworks. It's a cotton linen blend in their garlic colorway, which is just beyond. Can you see the color variations? I really, really hope you can see. And I'm loving it. I am loving it. It's on 3mm needles, so just working on it as and when. This is all I have left. So I'm a little worried about my yarn management, but worst comes to worst, I can try to get a skein in their just cotton base and kind of like helical knit it with this one to kind of blend it in and see if that will work, or maybe I can reach out and see if they happen to have any of this base left. Their skein, I know that'll be different because it's hand dyed, but again, maybe I can like helical knit it and so it won't be so glaring. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I was talking to Martina about this, and I want warm weather knits that I wear like my cold weather knits. I want shirts that are like my go-to t-shirts that I've knitted, just like how this is my go-to, feels like a sweatshirt type of thing. So, and I feel like this pattern has the potential for that. I actually went through my stash and I have 2 other yarns sitting that I'll show them now, that I want to make this out of. I have this from veganYarn.com. It's their fingering base, which is organic cotton and bamboo. And it was a failed colorway, so each of these was like $5. It basically just covered the cost of material. But I think it's beautiful. Like, it's not quite as, like that's not quite as red in real life, but so I have 2 of these that I'd like to make another shirt out of. And then again from Terrapin Fiberworks on their Deer Creek fingering, which is 60% organic cotton and 40% linen. I have this beautiful one-of-a-kind colorway that, ooh, that looks really orange. It's not that orange. It is a burnt orange, but it's not that orange. It's more like a dark fox color. But I got this one-of-a-kind colorway, and I want to make it out of this as well. So next, I haven't worked on this in quite a while, but I started the J and P cardigan by Albina McLaughlin in my Ireland yarn, which is very exciting. I have talked about this before. I got it in a little shop at the base of the Rock of Cashel, and I asked the lady about it, and all she said was it's from Donegal. So, but it's a beautiful neutral tweedy yarn, and the cardigan is bottom up in garter stitch. I've never done a bottom up cardigan before, so. And yeah, I was gonna say I'm really enjoying it, but I'm kind of not. The yarn is really hard to move across the needles. I find that it has a lot of resistance, which I'm not used to with my plant fibers. So it's definitely been a learning curve, and I kind of just got distracted by other projects, so it's sort of been on the back burner, but I'm not gonna frog it. It is going to continue on, just who knows when. Same with my Moorland cardigan. I had to rip back because the yoke was too shallow, and so it's in hibernation probably until late summer, early fall, I would assume. I don't really plan on picking it up anytime soon, but I'm not gonna frog it because I do want it. So next, I am working on a watch cap hat for a friend of my dad's. My dad asked me if I wouldn't mind making some hats for a trip he's going on, and I said I would do my best. So here's one. It looks tiny. I'm actually making the second size, which is a children's size, I think, but I started with the adult small, and I got to probably about here, and I like stretched out the bottom and put it on my head, and it was so loose. And then I did it on my boyfriend's head, and he's got a big head, like the biggest head of anyone I make things for, and it was loose on him. So I just knew like that's not gonna work. So I went down a size, and now I'm just plugging away. It's a free pattern from Purl Soho. They have, seriously, if you haven't gone digging through Purl Soho's free patterns, I highly recommend it. I thought it was just accessories, but I found like tank tops and all sorts, like baby overalls. So I highly recommend going digging. I know Inga from Knitting Traditions has made this hat pattern quite a few times, and I'm enjoying it. It's on 3.25 millimeter needles, and it's 2x2 rib, so it's pretty repetitive. But I really like how the decreases look up at the top, and I feel like ribbed hats are a really good bet when you don't know the person because they have so much stretch in them. So this is stash yarn, old stash yarn. I know it's a cotton bamboo mix. Maybe it's Stylecraft Naturals. I would guess it's Stylecraft Naturals. In just a brown colorway. I made my boyfriend a cardigan in this colorway, and it's yarn that I've left over. So, working on a watch cap hat. And then I am working on, this is the last acquisition that I got from Knit Picks. I am working on another jewel jacket or Julie jacket. I have one and I love it. I wear it all the time. The only bummer is the size range is not good. The size range is limited, and I hope that one day she, the designer, expands the size range. But I have the pattern, I love the pattern, so I got the Knit Pick City Tweed Aran in the Toad colorway. again, ask me if I'm in my tweed era. And I was really worried that the patterning on the cardigan would not show up in this tweed, but I think it does. So that's how far I am. This is the back. I have a little bit more to go. And then I'm gonna start like the front panels. And this has also taken a bit of a back burner, but I really want to keep working on it. This yarn is so soft. I was inspired because I was watching an old Fiber Tales episode and she got this yarn and I was like, I'm influenced. So again, it was on a great sale. So keep an eye out for Knit Pick sales if you want to try them out. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I am making the third size. Second, I'll put it on the screen. I think I'm probably making the third size. I'm making the same size as I did my last one. The only modification that I'm going to make to the pattern is instead of doing half fisherman's rib for the sleeves, I think I'm going to do this 2x2 ribbing because it goes down the whole side panel of the cardigan. And I think it would just look nice on the sleeves. I'm not a huge fan on my other one of the half fisherman's rib sleeves. So I think that's what I'm gonna do with this one. And I'm very excited. I really like the yarn. And they have a couple other tweed yarns that I would love to explore one day. So the last projects that I have to talk about are for a very dear family friend of mine who is going through a very difficult time that I can really strongly relate to. And so as soon as I heard, I was like, I want to make her a sweater. I know she's knit worthy because my mom has crocheted her countless items that she uses until they're rags. Like truly, I made her a beanie and it's like her go-to. She wears it all the time. She was saying someone at her local farmer's market or coffee shop or something has started recognizing her because of her hat and how much she wears it. So like when you nail it with her, you nail it, and she uses and abuses the pieces, and that's what I want. So I knew I wanted to make her a sweater. And so I started one in the Lion brand Respun yarn, which is 100% recycled polyester yarn that I've used before, but I have never used it for a garment. Sorry, my stitches popped off my barber cord. I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but my barber cords don't really stay on my needles. Like I can't do that thing where I pull my stitches through just from the barber cord because it always pops off the needles. But anyway, so I started the flax sweater by Tin Can Knits over on their app, and I just omitted the garter on the sleeves and I added some garter stripes all the way around the sweater, and I really liked how it was coming out, but it was too small. And there's a bit of a history with like some body image issues. So the last thing that I wanted to do was send my friend a sweater that was too small for her. Like I made it too small, but that would make her feel that she was too big for it, if that makes sense. Which is not the case. The case is the fact that the clothes are too small. You're not too big, the clothes are too small. And so I knew I had to rip it out. And then I started an Aosta sweater with the same yarn. And I made the third size. I made it exactly how I made this one, except I followed the neckline of the updated pattern and then went from there. And it's just not quite right. There isn't enough ease again. The neck feels like it's choking. I made the sleeves too short because she has really long arms, and these sleeves like basically fit me. So the thought was there, but the execution not quite right. So then I started another sweater for her, her third iteration, and I think this is the one. It's the Versol pattern by, oh my gosh, I thought I just saw like someone walking. That scared me so much. It is the Versol sweater by Albina McLaughlin. I've made one for myself and one for my boyfriend. And the one for myself is actually in this exact yarn and exact color, which is Lion Brand Touch of Linen, which I love, in the mustard colorway. And I am making the 5th size, and I think it is actually going to have a really good amount of ease now. I went for the folded crew neck option. In this pattern, it's an amazing, amazing, amazing pattern. There are like 3 different neckline options, 3 different body shaping options, 2 different sleeve options. The one pattern comes with like a female style and a male style, and the male style is just, you know, like longer measurements and things like that. But yeah, so, and I had 3 balls of this in stash, so I bought 3 more, and I have 1 sleeve done, and I truly think this time it's a long sleeve, which is nice. I'm working on the 2nd sleeve now, and I got the 1st sleeve done with 1 ball and this much to spare of the ball. So after this ball for this sleeve, I'll have the remnants of these and 1 brand new ball of yarn. And her torso is about the same as mine, so I'm just gonna make it the length that I would want it to be. And so yeah, this design's really cool. It's like a saddle raglan hybrid type of design. I always try to show the saddle shoulder and I feel like it never... Can you see that? So there's like the saddle. There are short rows, and I don't know why, but my short rows on sweaters are so messy, particularly on the right shoulder. Now, they don't look as messy because I went on the inside and I took a spare thread of this yarn and I yanked all of the German short rows in like towards the inside, and then I sewed them along the bottom of the neck. Let me see, you can kind of see what I'm talking about right here. And so it made them neater on the outside, but definitely not invisible. But regardless, I think she's going to really like it. I hope that I nailed the color. I know she loves like 70s colors, and mustard yellow is definitely one of her colors. But her and my mom both have this thing with colors where they'll get it in their head like that something washes them out, and then they just roll with it forever. And so I'm really hoping that that doesn't happen with this sweater. I personally don't think it would wash her out, but the important thing is how the person wearing it feels. So yes, I really think this time I've nailed it. I keep joking with, kind of joking, with Martina's Patreon group chat that I just have this knitting curse following me in 2024 for some reason. Like, it feels like everything I start is kind of going wrong. Like, I'm on the 3rd sweater iteration for my friend. My Moorland cardigan was too short in the arms. My t-shirt is too short in the arms, maybe. The hat was too small, so I had to rip it back. It's just like, it feels like everything is going a little bit wrong in my personal knitting life, which is fine, because it can be fixed. It can always be fixed, or it can be changed, or it can be ripped out, whatever. It's knitting. But I keep kind of joking about my 2024 knitting curse. But that is, oh my gosh, my nose, I think I'm suffering from allergies because my nose has felt like there's little fluffs in it 24/7 for the last like 2 months. So, but I digress. That is the end of this episode, I believe. I showed some acquisitions. I cleared up the knit along. It is not a no buy along. It is a celebrate what we've already treated ourselves to along. So I just wanted to clear that up. And I hope you've all been doing really well. I hope that where you are, the weather is getting nicer and getting sunnier. It certainly is here. We had our time change like a month ago now, but oh my gosh, that extra, it feels like 2 hours of extra sunlight in the evenings, and I feel like a new person. Spring has never hit me quite as hard as it is this year, and I'm loving it. I feel like I'm coming back to life. I'm waking back up, and it just feels nice. So I hope that you are feeling nice. I hope that you're feeling well. And if you're not, I hope that you will soon. And yeah, I'll be back when I have more to talk about. Bye.